So what are the habits of the successful entrepreneur? I'm going to talk about today what I see as the 5 main habits that the successful entrepreneurs and just successful people in general, the habits that they establish each day that just put them on the path to success. I'm actually going to be doing 2 videos on this. The first one here is the habits of successful entrepreneurs, and the other one I'm going to do is basically the habits that are the downfall of the entrepreneur, or like the mindsets and the common themes you see among entrepreneurs that are just not successful. So be on the lookout for that video as well if you guys are curious about that. But I thought it would be cool to do like contradicting videos where I'm covering one side versus the other. But this is basically the 5 habits that I see most successful entrepreneurs having. So the problem is that the odds are stacked against the entrepreneur, because 80 to 90% of businesses, the start of businesses, fail. It depends on actually where you look. When I was doing research on this, that's pretty much the figure that most people agreed on, was 80 to 90% of businesses actually fail. I don't know if it's within, I know most people look at businesses that fail within the first 2 years. I think this was looking at long term, not just the first 2 years. Young entrepreneurs lack experience. So me, myself, as a young person, I'd consider myself to be kind of an entrepreneur. I still work a full-time job, but I do YouTube on the side. And so I guess I'm kind of a part-time entrepreneur right now. But young entrepreneurs lack experience, but they have a huge amount of risk tolerance. And what I mean by that is, for the most part, if you guys are in your early 20s or even in your late teens, if you're super ambitious, you probably don't have a mortgage, you probably don't have kids, you probably don't have any recurring monthly expenses like that, other than maybe car insurance, cell phone bills, whatever you're already spending money on. So as a result, you have an incredible amount of risk tolerance at this age that you won't have when you're in your 30s and you have a family and you have cars that you're paying for and a mortgage. You won't have that same level of risk tolerance because there's a lot more riding on your monthly income. So if there's anybody out there who's looking to start their own business or try to take a leap of faith and, start something, do it while you're young, while you have this risk tolerance. Just something to throw out there. Anyway, the first habit that you see from the successful entrepreneur is an established routine. The successful entrepreneur has a 7-day-a-week routine, and this includes what time you go to sleep, what time you're waking up in the morning, what time you're eating during the day, what hours of the day are you spending doing work, what time are you exercising. So most successful entrepreneurs get up at the same time 7 days a week, go to bed at the same time 7 days a week, eat the same type of foods each day, exercise each day, and they set a dedicated amount of time every single day for work on their own business or their own ideas. So that's one of the main things that you need to do, is set a block of uninterrupted time each day to work on your side business. And this should take priority over everything else. So no matter what happens that day, you set that block of time for yourself to work on your business uninterrupted, or your own ideas, and nothing can get in the way of that no matter what. That has to be your top priority. You also have to, and this is incredibly hard, but it's something you have to do, you have to learn to say no to distractions and avoid having a disorganized life. So if you're really driven and you want to be a full-timer, because I'm going to talk about the full-time versus the part-time entrepreneur in a second, but if you want to be full-time and do this 7 days a week and be in the grind and just working hard every single day, you're going to have to learn how to say no to distractions, whether it be friends trying to get you to go out, or people trying to get you to do things with them, and if they're not helping you grow your business, they may not be serving you. I'm not saying you have to do this in order to be successful, but I'm saying the ones that are the most successful were the ones who kind of just got locked in and dialed in, and this was all they dedicated their efforts towards, was their business. Number 2 is how you spend your weekends. So this is what I call a part-time entrepreneur versus a full-time entrepreneur. The part-time entrepreneur is the type of person who Friday at 3 o'clock shuts their laptop and they don't open it again until Monday morning, and they see the weekend as, oh, it's free time. Simply because the actual work schedule, so if you work a full-time job, because most full-time jobs have evenings and weekends off, they figure, oh, okay, this is just the way things are. This is the routine I'm already used to. On the weekends, I just hang out and play golf and do whatever I want, and then I'll start working again Monday. That's what you would call a part-time entrepreneur. The full-time entrepreneur does not see the weekend as a time to relax and do nothing. In fact, they see it as a time to double down their efforts because they don't have to go work a full-time job. So if you have the whole day available to you, they'll use that whole day to their advantage, and they'll work during that day and they'll get more done than they would during the week. So that's the difference between a part-timer and a full-timer, is largely how you spend your weekends. Your weekend should not be an excuse for you to just simply stop working and go hang out and play golf and do whatever you want, if you're trying to be a full-timer and be as successful as possible. If you're just dabbling, maybe that's fine. Maybe on the weekends you relax a little bit. For the most part, I pretty much do work a lot on the weekends, but I mean, I'm not by any means like forcing myself to work the entire weekend on my side business here of working on YouTube. But I do get a lot done on the weekends, so I definitely rely on that block of time. Number 3 is evaluation. This is a huge one. Successful people constantly question themselves and basically ask yourself, what's working right now? What's not working right now? And I think this should be done on a daily basis as well as a weekly basis, a monthly basis, because some of the questions are a little bit broader with a scope, and some of them are ones you could ask each day. I know to some people this might sound weird, but it would be a great idea to just get yourself a journal and write down these questions, and every single day, answer these questions about your own life, just to evaluate your own life and see what is working and what is not working. So I just threw down a couple of questions that I think would be a good start for this if you guys were looking to do this. The first would be simply, what worked well today? So what things did you do today and you went, wow, that went really well, that really helped me out today? What areas are you lacking in? So if you write down the things that you do in your life, maybe you have all these different things that consume your time, and then you ranked them and said, okay, this is what I'm focusing on the most, this is what I'm focusing on the least. And you say, okay, these things that I'm not focusing on, do any of these need to become a priority? Or do I feel like I'm lacking in these areas? That's a great way to stay focused and avoid feeling overwhelmed. What I do actually, and maybe this sounds kind of weird, but what I'll do is I'll draw a line and I'll consider that 0. And then on the left side, those are the things that I'm lacking in. On the right side, those are the things that I'm doing very well in. And I will just kind of write things down. And if I'm doing very well at something, I'll put it over on the right. And if I'm lacking in certain areas, I'll put it on the left. And then just kind of circle the ones all the way out on the left and say, these are the areas that I'm lacking in. I need to dedicate some time to this. And that really does help me stay focused and avoid getting overwhelmed, because that's one of the biggest problems is entrepreneurs frequently feel overwhelmed because there's so much that has to be done, and you're just feeling like you're being pulled in so many different directions at once. But you just have to be consistent and just keep on working and do whatever you can to just stay focused and in the right mindset. And it really helps to evaluate yourself. Another question you could ask yourself, what new things did you learn today? What does your future look like? If you keep doing what you're doing today, every single day, how does your future look? And is that a future you want for yourself? These are all great questions you can ask yourself. What will you do differently tomorrow? So maybe you ask yourself, what didn't go well today? What didn't work today? How can you change that going forward so tomorrow is a better day and you don't make those same mistakes? Evaluation keeps you on track and allows you to evolve. If you're not evaluating yourself, you're not changing yourself. You're just doing the same thing every single day, and you will have what you already have because you're not changing anything. But if you start to question yourself and say, okay, I can do better, okay, I'm lacking in these areas, that's when you start to improve, and small improvements over time will yield fantastic and gigantic results in the long run. This is one of my favorite quotes, and it's something that I fall back on sometimes when I'm worried about, sometimes you're like, oh, am I doing enough? Oh, this isn't going as fast as I want it to, because a lot of people have such great expectations. They think that they're going to start something and it's just going to explode in popularity. For my example, it was starting this YouTube channel. It actually took me about 7 weeks to get my first 100 subscribers on this channel, and I was uploading just about every single day. And so that's like 49, 50 days. So it was somewhere around 2 subscribers a day I was gaining. And there were times when I would sit down and be like, is this even worth it? Nobody really seems to care. Nobody's watching these videos. Am I just wasting my time? But I just kept pushing myself. And that's what the truth is here, guys. Long-term consistency always beats short-term intensity. So because I was consistent over time, just kept at it. Now I've been doing this coming up on 5 months, and I have over 3,000 subscribers. And it's incredible because at first I was so concerned, is this worth it? Is it going anywhere? But if you can just get through that the first steps, and then you start to see your work, you start to see the reward for your work, that's what's going to motivate you to keep moving forward. But evaluation helps you to do that, and also just being consistent as opposed to being intense with it. You don't want to burn yourself out. You just want to be consistent with it, establish the habits, and do it each and every day. Number 4, this is a big one too. Entrepreneurs have good health habits. So they basically, it's what you're eating, how much you're sleeping. I know the sleep is a tough one because a lot of people understand you're not going to be able to sleep probably 8 hours a day. If you're a very driven entrepreneur, your sleep is probably going to have to sacrifice a little bit there. But what you eat and what you do, they have a significant impact on your mood and your performance. So you need to make your health a priority. So what foods are you eating? Are you going to McDonald's and eating fast food? Are you avoiding exercise? Are you sitting inside all day? You want to make sure you're getting daylight each day, getting out in the sun. You want to make sure you're exercising at least a couple days a week to keep yourself in peak performance. You want to be eating good foods, a lot of raw foods, vegetables, healthy foods like that, because you need to keep yourself at peak performance. And I know people argue like, oh, well, maybe fast food is quicker. I can just run through and grab a meal. But let's say you're not keeping up with your health and you get sick and you're sick for a week. How productive are you going to be when you're sick in bed for a week? So why not keep yourself healthy, keep yourself feeling good, and keeping yourself healthy? So you want to make sure you have a healthy body mass index, your BMI. And just a general rule of thumb I wanted to throw out there for men, your inseam on your pants, so when you go buy pants at the store, your inseam should be the same as your waist size, or your waist size should be smaller than your inseam. So if you wear a pair of 32 inseam jeans, your waist should be 32. If you wear 34, you should have a 34-inch waist or smaller. So that's just a general rule of thumb that will tell you whether or not you're at a healthy weight. So if you're somebody who has like a 36, 38-inch waist, 32-inch inseam, you're probably overweight. Just something to consider if you guys wanted a general guideline to tell whether or not you are at a healthy weight or unhealthy weight. So most successful entrepreneurs make their health a priority because they know how important it is to be healthy in order to be as productive and effective as possible. Number 5 is learning. This is a big one too. Any good entrepreneur knows they don't know everything. And the truth is, the more you learn, the more you earn at the end of the day. A lot of entrepreneurs, unfortunately, and I'm going to talk about this more on the habits or basically the things that, the demise of the modern entrepreneur, where the people have these habits, they're kind of, they work against you as an entrepreneur. But one of the things is a lot of entrepreneurs have this ego about them, that they're just like, they know everything and they're so smart and they're gifted. But when you let your ego get in the way of your success, you're pretty much blind to things because you think you already know it. You can't learn what you think you already know. So if you think you know everything about whatever it is you're trying to do, you're not going to learn anything new because you think you're the expert. You think you know everything. And as a result, your ego is getting in the way of your success because there's no way you know everything and you can always learn something new or get a different perspective on it. So what I recommend doing, read for 30 minutes a day, at least 30 minutes. Maybe start with 30 minutes and then work up from there. Read books that are related to what it is that you're trying to do. Ask questions. So, if you know people who are doing what it is that you do already, maybe you want to start your own coffee shop. Start going to coffee shops and asking if you can sit down with the owners and ask them questions, and even just go in there and look around and ask people who are sitting around, hey, what kind of coffees do you guys like here? What do you like about this shop compared to other shops? How is this different than like a Starbucks? Do you like local coffee shops or do you go to the larger commercial ones? And, just asking people questions and treating life like a survey. I really like that idea. So just look around and ask people questions. The other thing that I'd recommend doing is listening to audiobooks or podcasts while driving or exercising. I think it's important to listen to music as well. I listen to a lot of music because it's very relaxing for me. So if it's something like that where you enjoy music because it relaxes you, don't get rid of the music just because you're trying to learn as much as possible, because that might be benefiting you as well. But a mix of both isn't a bad idea. That's kind of what I do, is half the time I listen to music. The other half the time I listen to podcasts or audiobooks, something like that, where I'm actually learning stuff. But I do that while I'm either driving or while I'm exercising, and that's great because that's stuff that I'm doing regardless. So why not use that time to learn something? Throw a podcast on and listen to it while you're driving. And the other thing I'm going to recommend as far as learning goes is pay attention to trends and any aha moments. And what I mean by that is those are those moments when you're walking around and something just catches your attention and it's just so clear to you. You're like, somebody needs to fix this. That somebody is probably you, and you should probably fix that. So anytime you see something that's just so wrong, or you see something and you're like, this could be done in such a better way, that's what I call an aha moments. And as an entrepreneur, you need to focus on those because that might be your good opportunity or what it is you're going to be doing because you just picked up on something that somebody else hasn't. And what I mean by trends is just pay attention to what people are doing and the things that are going on in the world and see if you can use any of those trends to your advantage. Anyways, I got a couple of final tips here. I didn't bother writing them on the board because I had just a few here. But the first is that you need to prioritize. Even if you have 100 things to do, make a list and start with number 1. And then when number 1 is complete, move on to number 2. One of the biggest problems people have is they're worried about step 13 when they haven't even completed step 1. Why would you worry about things you can't control? So make a priority list. If you're trying to start a business, start with step number 1. Once you complete step number 1, you move to step number 2, and step 3 through 100 do not exist until you get there. That's one of the biggest problems people have, is they get overwhelmed because they're like, look how much work I have to do. But if you focus on one step at a time and don't move on to the next step until you finish that step, it's going to be a lot easier to stay on track and stay motivated. The next thing is to make lists for what you plan on accomplishing this hour, this day, this week, this month, this quarter, and this year. I do this every single day. As soon as I sit down at my desk at work, and even on the weekends, I jot down a list of everything I want to get done that day, and it helps me stay on track and get everything done. I also make weekly lists, so things I plan to get done that week. You should have lists for what you want to get done this month, this year, this quarter. You need to constantly have lists and goals that you're looking to attain, because this is what's going to keep you on track. The other thing I would recommend doing is removing the word overwhelmed from your vocabulary. Forget that word even exists, because at some points you may feel out of control, but you just have to keep pushing through it and doing whatever you can with the time that you have today. Don't ever say you're overwhelmed and you can't do it and just give up. Just keep on working and being consistent. And the last thing too, guys, make sure you're rewarding yourself along the way. So if you're accomplishing your goals and doing things for yourself, buy yourself some nice things, reward yourself, or take yourself on a vacation. That's going to keep you, it's going to keep your spirits up, it's going to keep you feeling happy, and it's going to keep you feeling motivated to keep moving forward. So make sure you're rewarding yourself and taking time for yourself and enjoying life and experiencing your own life. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, feel free to drop me a like, and if you have any feedback on this video, feel free to drop me a comment, or any other topics you want me to cover in the future, feel free to leave me a comment there as well. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe to be notified of any future uploads. And as always, I thank you guys for watching this video.